Let's talk about wars in the Middle East. So I'll mention three of them that come to mind fairly readily. Alexander the Great, the conqueror from Macedonia, came through the Middle East, went as far as India, had to turn back and died near Babylon. He had conquered the area around Israel, but when he died, who's going to rule? He said, who's ever the strongest. So between 301 and about 167 BC, two of his successors fought back and forth over Israel. There were the Ptolemies in Egypt and the Seleucids in Syria, and in the middle was Israel, and they fought back and forth for about 140 years. Then, about 167, 164, there was the famous Maccabean revolt. The Maccabees in Israel fought against the Seleucids, especially a guy named Antiochus Epiphanes. And that was a second kind of a Middle Eastern war. And a third one. Between 66 and 70 AD, the Romans and Jews fought back and forth. Eventually, the Romans would destroy the temple and destroy Jerusalem. But it was also a Jewish civil war, Jew against Jew as well as Jew against Roman, and it even spread out to some other countries. That's a third one. There's a fourth one that comes to mind. You ever hear of Lawrence of Arabia? In the era around World War I, Israel was ruled by what was known as the Ottoman Empire, from Turkey through the Near East over as far as Egypt and North Africa, and then points east as well. But the Ottoman Empire, been called the sick man of Europe, started breaking up. And the British sent T.E. Lawrence to help the tribes gain their independence so the Ottomans wouldn't come in World War I on the side of the Germans. And the tribes rose up, and eventually there would be settlement and creation of states like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and Iran. A fourth Middle Eastern war. Why do I mention that? Well, in Luke chapter 21 and verse 10, Jesus says that there will be nation rising against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Now, nation doesn't mean what we think of as a country, because you can be a ethne, a people within a people, such as the Kurds in the Middle East. So there'll be groups of people rising up against other groups of people. And he's talking about the Middle East. He's speaking from Jerusalem. What's that tell me? It tells me that every conflict that takes place in the Middle East doesn't mean Christ is coming back right away. It simply tells me that the conflicts in the Middle East are part of an ongoing, perpetual series of battles. The ancient times, they wanted to control who had access to Egypt because that's where all the grain was. In more modern times, people want to get control of how you can get to the oil fields, further east in places like Saudi Arabia. So there's a lot of different factors that take place, but there's perpetual Middle Eastern wars. When Jesus says nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, what he's saying is there'll be plenty of wars in the Middle East. Doesn't mean every time you hear of a war or rumor of war there, Christ is coming back. What's our goal? Not to have insider knowledge, but to, like we saw in verse 19, have perseverance. By your perseverance, you will gain your souls. And perseverance means I can ride the waves, even of the Middle Eastern wars. It's your daily devotional for Friday. I hope you're doing well. Hope you pray for the church and pray for me, and pray for the upcoming events of next week with Monday, Thursday, and our day of prayer on Friday, Family Fun Day, Easter Sunday. A great, great week of the Lord to open souls and us be ready to make disciples. God bless you as you serve him today. Remember, Jesus said, blessed are those who hear the word of God and keep it. I'm so glad that's you today. God bless you.